right. All right, Brighter Light Podcast. This is Anthos with another episode after a very long time here. And I've got a very special guest that I've been wanting to speak to for a while. Scott of the Ex-JW Doc project.
That's right.
Yeah. I saw you, I think the way that I came across you was, I saw the trailer that you teased. And it was awesome the way you teased it too. Sign up, you have to turn in your email address and get a link to it. How long have you been working on that?
I started in 2016. This was the first time I tried to do an interview with an ex-Jehovah's Witness. I'd never met that many, so finally did it. But so I started trying to cut something, and then I did it with another friend. So then I cut the two guys together. Like almost a year, like 8 months later or something. I met with another friend. And I spent like 5 months like dedicated to just editing that project and trying to make some content.
Right.
But last January's like 6 months ago is when I really focused and like made something I was like pretty happy with. I made the teaser that you saw.
Okay.
I realized I wanted to like dedicate a lot of this year to creating that project.
And you've been, how long have you been around filmmaking?
So 2013, I decided that I was going to do a big, like, not a career shift, but like explore kind of a hobby and a passion of mine. So about 13 to 2016. That's, I feel like an idiot right now. Cut that out. 2018 now. 5 years, 6 years. But I had a whole like film thing I did and documentary thing I did in high school. We had like a really cool TV broadcast project or program in our high school. It's still a lot of those guys in that program still do film work.
Right.
And so we just hung out and filmed a bunch of weddings together. And it was all this crew from high school that still do filmmaking and use cameras in a way. One of them now teaches a department in that school still.
Right.
Like that exact department. So I think that was like a really cool big push to like go and explore and create. But then I took a big hiatus from it.
Nice.
Kind of returned to it as always a passion of mine.
So your parents, they were in full support of you taking that route? Or aspiring to take that route?
As an adult or as a kid?
No, when you were a kid.
As a kid, yeah, they thought it was awesome. My mom was like, if you're going to college, you better do something creative. I don't want to hear you trying to get some business degree or something boring. I want to be proud of you.
Oh, nice.
So when I finally went to photography school, she was pretty stoked about that.
What kind of parents did you have growing up as a witness?
So my parents were like kind of lived in contrast to the most of society. They were pretty free spirits, encouraged spontaneity, and just like dessert first before dinner is fine.
Okay.
Like, we're pulling you out of school because it's a sunny day. We're gonna go swimming.
Oh, nice.
That kind of thing. It happened all the time. Like if you ever get in trouble, we've got your back kind of attitude, which is really cool.
Right.
And they loved to travel, so it kind of inspired me for my life, I guess. To, like go see the world. They're pretty cool, and I could always see the difference. Like I was pretty proud to have those parents growing up. I knew that they were awesome. Because a lot of parents were like really oppressive to kids, or had rules and timeouts and groundings, and that almost never happened where I'm from. But they always had like taught us to read the room and like make smart decisions.
Okay.
That they wanted us to think for ourselves in a way.
Were they considered by the congregation as good witnesses or spiritually weak or?
They're always at the bottom. Always at the bottom. Like my dad tried to take it seriously. My mom kind of hated the Kingdom Hall, I think. My dad was like teaching us, trying to indoctrinate us. He set us down with a cassette tape and the book and the headphones. Like, this is what you do before bed.
That little brown case of tapes.
Yeah, exactly. That's some pink book. I can't remember.
I think that was the...
It's like you gotta pause it when there's a question and think about the answer.
The Great Teacher book? Is that what that was?
Might be. Yeah, I can't remember now.
So you're like me, you don't remember anything anymore.
Yeah, I tried to let that part of my brain get reformatted because like it's such bullshit. Like I don't want to spend any more time thinking about the nuances of it. But that was a weird thing because like I remember that was really early. I was probably 6 or 7, and my dad's like, "All right, this is what we're gonna do now. Like you have to do this weird thing. Why can't I like read the Choose Your Own Adventure books? They're like way more,
I used to love those things.
Way more interesting than this."
I used to cheat when I read those.
Oh, me too.
Ended too fast. I'd double back. Okay, let me just retrace these steps.
Yeah.
So yeah, listening to The Great Teacher.
That's it. Yeah, exactly that one.
And I think The Great Teacher was what?
Wait,
the pink book. Oh yeah, this is on Amazon. You sell this shit on Amazon?
That should be. That's unacceptable.
Wait a minute.
Is that from JW.org?
It says Watchtower.
But it's used. I wonder if it's like from LA.
Sold by.
Oh, it's not. It's you. Yeah, sold by who?
Sold
Jensen
by
Books.
Jensen Books. And fulfilled
Okay.
by Amazon. $8.21 for this crap.
That was free when I was a kid. Probably my parents donated.
So your parents, are they still witnesses?
Yeah, when I took it more, well, when I decided I didn't believe anymore, not decided, when I just realized I didn't believe anymore.
Right. When was that?
End of 2008, early 2009. I gave it a good long push from when I was like 19 to 27 to try to like make it work, but yeah, I kind of finally left then. So almost 10 years ago.
What did you made you decide that you didn't believe?
It was there's one person, she wrote something I really liked. It. She's like, all it took was one Google search for this whole house of cards to unravel and collapse. It was that I finally gave myself the permission to learn things that they tell you not to ever look up.
Okay.
It's just the fact that they tell you.
Great when you decide that.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. But I still like did it the safe way. Like I would only use like reliable sources like Wikipedia, or an encyclopedia. Wikipedia is pretty well regarded. And then I started watching YouTube videos, but I watched YouTube videos about the flood. That people were trying to prove the flood. I was like, proof that the flood happened. Like YouTube search, and all these people are trying to prove it. Sounded like complete imbeciles.
Right.
And I realized like everything that witnesses teach is exactly what young Earth creationists teach, except for one strange thing is that witnesses believe the age of the Earth. So they accept all the fossil evidence of dinosaurs and the other 4 or 5 waves of life and mass extinctions in the last 500 million years, even though they don't know about it. But like they accept all that archaeology, all that.
They don't want to talk about it though.
Dating, nuclear dating, and half-lives.
They don't want to weigh in on it.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't publish anything about this. They
Right.
just have like one thing written in the 60s about how there's so many evidences for floods all over the Earth, regional floods. Like, okay, yeah, but over how many hundreds of millions of years were those regional floods? Like,
Right.
They don't try to say it all happened 4,000 years ago, which is their narrative. But yeah, all these people on YouTube just didn't understand anything about archaeology or dating systems, and they're trying to say that like the Grand Canyon proves the existence of the Grand Canyon and all the fossil evidence there, which are all from millions of years ago, probably hundreds of millions of years ago. That proves that a flood happened 4,000 years ago, that a genocide by God, the genocide.
That covered the whole Earth.
Covered the whole Earth. Not one mountain peak was out of that. There's not enough water on this planet for that. There's so many things where that idea just is absurd. If you take it as metaphor, or allegory, but not literal.
It's I just had a memory of now it makes sense to me that I tweeted this Joe Rogan clip of him talking about the flood, and I remember you jumped on it.
Yeah.
You retweeted it.
Okay.
So that was like your thing, was the flood that got you at first.
Yeah. So the flood. I mean, everyone. See, okay, I have a whole story to tell you about visiting my parents and my grandparents and my sister.
Let's hear it.
But this kind of ties into that. Like my dad was, like 2 weeks ago, I went to visit my parents and my family, kind of on a whim. But he was like, why don't you just go talk to the elders about this? I was like, you know how many elders I've talked to about the flood? And their answers are all the same. God, they don't say this, but basically, to boil it down, they're saying God is using perpetual magic to do things all the time. And they won't use the word magic because they are superstitious about the word magic or the idea of magic, but their God is magical according to the way they believe in him. And the answer I literally got from multiple witnesses in different states and different congregations was, God poofed the animals from the ark to the ecosystems they live in all over the earth. Poofed is the word.
I've not heard that one.
Are
you serious?
How did the koala bear get to the eucalyptus trees that grow in Australia, and like all of them get off of the ark and get all the way there?
How'd they get to the ark?
Yeah. Did they bring eucalyptus with them? You know,
Is that what they're saying?
God used magic basically to get the koala bear from Ark to Australia.
That is such a bullshit answer.
The most recent one I heard was, Pangea. Like, okay, sure, all the continents were combined at some point, so all the animals like just walked, and then the land floated away. But like, if you try to talk about this in any logical way, like Pangea was hundreds of millions of years ago. Like, that didn't just happen. I don't know the exact timing of the actual, but we can measure it. We know the continents are drifting apart by like 2 centimeters or 4 a year. At least the Atlantic and Europe, like the mid-Atlantic rift is spreading apart.
Right.
That's one place we can measure it. But yeah, so witnesses don't have any idea because they never talk about this. There's no publication that writes about it. They're just like, just believe it, it's fine.
Right.
God found a way to make it happen. And here we are. Here's all the evidence of all.
That's not good enough.
No, definitely not.
But when you're a witness, it is. Ignorance is bliss.
Right.
When you're a witness.
So once I open those floodgates, like, witnesses just believe the same thing that these idiotic young Earth creationists believe.
Right.
Then I was like, well, if that's wrong, then since there's such an all or nothing religion, then what else is wrong? Like everything. Everything's bullshit.
Everything. So I want to know what happened with you when you came to that realization that it's all bullshit. So you came to the realization that they are literally lying to you. Did you look at it like that, or that they just didn't know what they were talking about?
Literally lying. I mean, someone had to have thought about this because they write about it in their publications. I guess I just took it as, well, I'm gonna just break this down. Like, if that's wrong, then like, what else is there?
Right.
And then it was like, all right, I've always been interested in evolution, and they always said it's like a bad word in that religion.
Right.
But I realized after reading the Wikipedia that evolution's not some scary, crazy idea. It's just adaptation. It's blending genes through reproduction.
Right.
Like, if you just wait long enough, things under social or under environmental pressure, food, water, resource access to different species, the ones that can consume something new or that are more aggressive and can like dominate and get that resource for themselves rather than letting some other species consume it.
Right.
They've survived, and the ones that couldn't do that died. And I mean, evolution is a process through death, and also the ones that survive. So the ones that survive make it, and also that there is random mutation through RNA copying DNA. Now we understand that since the 90s. And we see these random mutations. So every once in a while, something crazy is going to exist that's either a strength or weakness, and the strengths survive and the weaknesses die.
Right.
It's not so complicated. It's just adaptation in some level, and it's not hard to believe. And it's just how nature works. It's just everyone who's ever observed nature through science has found this is how nature works.
Right.
And it's not a scary idea. If you want to believe in God, this is a new idea that now that I've left religion, is that if you want to believe in God and evolution, they're not incompatible ideas.
Right.
One's just science and one's make-believe or mythology.
So do you believe in God?
Not at all.
Not at all?
I mean, I guess it was through that, like breaking that barrier, realizing that I could research things and it wasn't scary to do that, and that this house of cards was collapsing. I just realized, like, oh, if that's bullshit and this is bullshit, then the whole thing's probably a sham, and this invisible, imaginary friend I've been trying to talk to for my whole life isn't actually there listening. It's probably just like all in my head, and just like it is with kids and their imaginary friends. So, like, let's just let that go. I don't need an imaginary friend as an adult, and I'm okay with that.
But were you ever afraid to look at stuff leading up to that moment, or you just haven't gotten around to it?
I don't know that I was afraid, but I was sort of trying to be cautious. Because
just in case. Just
in
case demons might infiltrate. You expose yourself to demons, or what?
I think I got, in a way, like, over the idea of demons as a witness, because I realized that, like, Satan never hurt anyone in the Bible.
Yeah, Jehovah did. It was Jehovah.
God killed millions of people, like one after the next. Whole groups, whole nations, men, women, children, all animals. He did these terrible things. Like, Satan never did that, and he was just trying to reason with people. And I realized he's sort of like he's kind of the hero of the story in a way. Like, he's the social justice person in the Bible. He cares for us. He wants us to know and have our own morality.
Right. So he wants us to live, right?
Yeah. And I kind of thought that as a witness after a while.
He's the ultimate apostate, huh?
Yeah. I mean, he was just trying to be, he was a free thinker. And he wanted humans to be free thinkers and not be under the oppression of this authoritarian ruler. And I started to see it that way as a witness. And so, like, demons and the devil weren't so scary to me after a while.
Wait a minute. What a spin. So everything that Satan has done in the Bible, he hasn't just really been just evil, huh?
I mean, he wasn't even in the Garden of Eden. There's a snake. If you read it literally, people attribute that to the devil, but it's actually just like an idea and an animal. But the way witnesses think of it is actually Satan. But I mean, sorry, what was your question?
Well, they portray Satan as pretty much the biggest hater of all times because he's going down. He's trying to get everybody to go down with him.
Yeah.
But from the way that you're opening my eyes right now, Satan has just never been all about strictly doing evil things just to hurt people.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever hurt anyone. I mean, there's just the story of Job, which I think is interesting because basically God puts him up to it.
Yeah.
And Satan's walking around in heaven, and God's like, hey, here you are in the throne chamber room. What's up, Satan? And he's like, I'm just hanging out. Like, okay, so Satan and God are just kicking it, and all the angels are paying attention, and they're just having a conversation. And then he's like, I saw you were paying attention to Job. He's like, yeah, he seems really, really loyal. And that whole story.
That's the worst story.
Basically, God's like, this is the deal. We're gonna make a game out of this. You can do anything you want, but you can't physically hurt him. But that's the only time like Satan's ever communicated, or not communicated, but there's been any discussion where Satan's actually harming someone.
Wow.
There's plenty of other gods and like worship of other deities like Baal and other deities from the regional area. But
you're blowing my mind right now, Scott. I've never ever had that take on Satan.
I think he's a hero.
Huh.
And it's not just like, if you take the Bible and try to apply it to like the modern world, we have these oppressive authoritarian governments, and they don't care about the best interests of most of a lot of people. They do what's in the best interest of a greedy group of people, and they're willing to destroy the environment. But then there's people that are fighting from the bottom, trying to like take back the power and give it, like, make a harmonious society.
Right.
And
that would be Satan.
That would be Satan. And you can call them revolutionaries, or the government puts their spin on it because they want to maintain authority, and they don't want the people to have a harmonious society. They want oppression, and they want some kind of pseudo form of slavery through economic means of a work life. People don't get to do what they want. They have to be a slave to our system of economics. And we have these same stories continuously being repeated, and I feel like this idea of God and Satan is just like an old, ancient way of portraying the current government and sort of like a union labor worker.
I love that. Oh my God, I love that. So just to backtrack a little bit, so what was your childhood like?
I have pretty great memories. I mean, I lived in a pretty rural place with a lot of wild, like the North Woods of Wisconsin. We had a lot of time in nature, canoeing and going to the beaches and camping. And when we traveled, we always traveled for nature. So we went to a lot of national parks all over the United States, and sort of through Canada a little bit, camping and stuff. But my parents loved that. So like, great memories, really good parents. Like, they kind of had us young, so they were really fun young parents to hang with, and they wanted to have their youth still, so that we did stuff they loved to do, and they were exploring and like always bringing us to new sports. And my parents liked to downhill ski, and then eventually snowboarding happened, so my dad got into snowboarding with us.
Right.
They take us to skate parks, and like we had a lot of.
You had cool witness parents.
They were real cool. They were always sort of being love bombed by the congregation because they kind of skipped meetings a lot, and we never went to Kingdom Hall out of town.
Envied kids like you.
Yeah.
Parents missing the meetings all the time. They didn't have to go.
Even my dad was like trying to take it serious, and he'd have talks, but he'd get really nervous. And had the whole talk written, ready to go, practiced, timing, get the 5-minute talk on the Theocratic Ministry School, which doesn't exist anymore, by the way. They canceled
really?
it. Yeah.
Lucky witnesses.
Yeah, right.
Hated that.
But he would skip like half of those talks. He would just, I can't do it, and he'd just like not go to the meeting, and like some other ministerial servant would have to pick up the slack.
I wish that
that was my example.
I wish that when they would hand me those slips, that I'd be like, no, I'm cool. Put my palm up. No, I'm cool. You might want to give that to brother such and such.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it. Like, what would happen if I said that?
I mean, my parents thought Calvin and Hobbes was pretty hilarious. So I always thought Calvin was the hero, and one of the continuing sub-themes of Calvin was that he had all these chores and things he had to do, but that he would just always wait till the last minute and always do the bare minimum.
Right.
So that when he did anything, he would get rewarded for it.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna mow the lawn, but when I finally do it, or I'm not gonna do the dishes, but when I finally do it, I'll get a treat for doing it. I feel like that was a kind of how my parents and how I kind of dealt with the witnesses.
Right.
I'm gonna go in service 1 hour a month, so that when I'm out, everyone's super excited, even though I'm only getting 3 hours a month.
So it doesn't sound like you were one of the people that had one of the bad experiences being a witness.
It was pretty relaxed. It wasn't until I was 19 and I kind of stopped going. But then the next that following year, I sort of returned to my hometown and kind of all this pressure to kind of take it seriously, and that's when I kind of took it more seriously, I guess, and tried to do it, kind of be an adult about it in a way. And I kind of took it more seriously than the rest of my family. I started trying to auxiliary pioneer and stuff, even though I didn't really know if I believed anymore, which is
spend all those hours in field service, not sure if you believe.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous.
Shame on you.
But we got a new bunch of elders. Our elder body was totally wiped out by the CO, and a bunch of new guys came in that were more by the book rule followers, and they kind of trying to whip our congregation into shape. And I kind of tried to see it from their eyes and tried to follow the rules a little bit,
but not really.
I broke all the small rules all the time, hanging out with girls one-on-one, dating a worldly girl.
Okay.
But not having sex, doing everything else except bad
That's
ones.
silly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so annoying. Wasted all that time.
Could have
been enjoying it all the way.
Laid, right.
Yeah. I don't know why there's such a ban on intimacy. That's really what it is, I think. Which is terrible because intimacy is a big part of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone should enjoy that.
Huge.
I think I tangented though.
And the
Taking it serious.
the dating with a chaperone, that's not healthy at all.
No, that's so
You
weird
don't
and
get to know
creepy.
somebody like that.
No.
Very creepy, especially when it's two adults, two grown ass people.
A lot of the rules, I get it if you're a teenager and they don't want you to get pregnant or have these huge life changes happen that you can't handle. But when you're an adult, those are your decisions to make. And
Yeah, absolutely.
even shunning and disfellowshipping, that kind of pressure works on teenagers.
Yeah.
You're in timeout,
Right.
You get grounded. That's some kind of, parenting role, but to adults, that's just absurd.
So, what brought you to wanting to do these documentaries?
Okay.
Being that's where I was going with asking you, and finding out that you aren't really one of those people that really went through the experience. And I'm not really one of those people either, to be honest. I mean, my experiences were smaller things, unfair things, obvious, unjust, and some racist things, and physically abused. I used to get my ass kicked by my mom. Yeah, and she thought she was doing the right thing, but being that you're not one of those people, what brought you back to it and made you want to do these documentaries?
So, the whole shunning thing, my parents totally spun a 180 after a year or two after I stopped believing.
Mm-hmm.
They realized, probably from some convention or something, that they should start treating me a certain way. Because up until that point, I was invited to family reunions, and I'd see them in Germany because my brother lives there, so we'd hang out, and it was sort of fine. But then they realized like I just didn't believe, and that they were supposed to treat me a different way. So they started doing this creepy shunning thing that's super culty.
And you guys were always close.
Oh, super close. So we have a really happy family, and there's 5 kids, 2 parents, and our grandparents are still alive, but like that whole side of the families, my dad's side of the family.
What did they say to you when they had this realization? Did they say it, or did they just start acting it?
They use that like really twisted logic that I left, which I tell people that I left a religion because that's sort of the shorthand way to say that I don't believe something anymore.
Right.
And that I'm not a part of it anymore. But ultimately, I didn't leave anything. I just stopped deciding to go.
So you're not disfellowshipped?
Not disfellowshipped, not reproved, anything. I just I walked away.
Okay.
But I think I did it in a way that, without even trying, like my cards, I never transferred my cards to any hall for years, and I was in like 6 different kingdom halls, and I was just like bouncing around, moving to different countries and states, and I just like stopped believing that I had to turn in time, like when I was like 24. Like,
nice.
I think that's weird, and if it's really the true religion, they shouldn't need to do reports on me and have something to punish me with. And I thought it was really bizarre, so I just stopped turning in my time, but I still went out in service and stuff. But anyway, like I never got punished officially, or they never use any of those tools against me.
Right.
Some full I just walked away. But anyways, they use that weird logic, like you left and you made this choice. Like I didn't make a choice.
Right.
You're making a choice to be weird and act strange and treat your family in a different way. Why are you doing that? Like you know why. Do I? Like I'm like, why don't you explain it?
Yeah.
Break it down.
Because you don't want me to explain to you why you're doing it.
Yeah. And I know that they actually care, and they have true emotional feelings for me as a sibling and a son, but they are trying to survive to this paradise they've been trying to believe in, or actually believe in, all these years. And this is a selfish choice on their part to survive. And if it means kicking me to the curb or throwing me over the wall or whatever, stoning me to death, figuratively, that if that saves them, that's their true motivation.
Wow, you have an interesting take on things, man. That's interesting.
Otherwise, I don't think anyone would do these things. I mean, it's super unnatural to so they always talk about love being an action verb. Mm-hmm. You have to show love, do love, treat people with love. But shunning someone is an act of hatred. You do this to your enemies.
Right.
So, the fruitage of the Spirit is not alive and well in this religion. If the fruitage of this religion is hatred towards their own family members. But when I question them on it, they're like, no, we love you. I'm like, well, we'll show it. You're not showing love at all. You have a really terrible way of showing it if this is your love.
Right.
I'm like, no, all you have to do is talk to the elders. Like that road is like long past. You'll never go down that road again. I talked to all the elders possible, and they're a bunch of homophobic, rule following weirdos. Like I have no patience, and they have no logic, no sense of logic
or education. No sense, and no. They're not knowledgeable at all.
Yeah, they have no tools. They have no tools in psychology to help people who are going through some trial. All they do is say to pray more, to Invisible Sky Daddy, and to go in service more, and tell people about paradise, because that will erase all of your emotions. None of that works. Those aren't solutions.
Culty.
Yeah. So in terms of going way back, why am I making this project is because I'm being treated in this ridiculous way by my actual family members who are awesome people.
So that was your motivation?
Yeah,
when your family decided to turn on you that way?
Yeah, and I didn't think of it right away. It was me pursuing this passion for filmmaking and camera work, and this is just a side project for me. I thought of it because I now have skills that I think are pretty great.
Right.
I've developed a style, and I've learned a lot of things from a lot of different people. So I thought, what's my story? What could I tell well? Because I could try to tell someone else's story.
Right.
And I worked on a lot of different projects with sex workers and with traditional farming, and making music videos, and
nice.
I did a lot of fun creative projects, but they weren't my thing. I thought, well, this is tormenting me because, my parents are awesome people and they're just trapped in this like weird religion. They're destroying their family. They're actively destroying their family relationships. And they know they think about it every single day, and I do too. And there's no reason, like they're afraid of dying and losing out on something. And I'm just like okay with not knowing the answers to the biggest questions in the universe.
Right.
Because they're really hard to figure out. But somehow in the middle are all these really bad ideas. And it makes people act in really embarrassing ways. And I just want to talk about this weird space that I'm familiar with and like deal with every couple of years when I try to visit my family and say hi and show some love and just keep in touch with them. So I thought, you know what, maybe I could tell the story.
Do they know that you're doing this?
They found out when I did the campaign, yeah. So I have a whole story to tell about.
Oh, come on, let's go. I want to hear this.
Okay. Okay, so let me frame it with a little bit of give you an idea what you're about to listen to. So I went back to visit my grandma, my mom's mom, who's never been a part of this religion. She's basically non-religious, at a nursing home where she now lives. But she wasn't at the nursing home. She was in my parents' home. I found out from the nurses.
Well, some of your grandmother goes on Twitter.
On Twitter? She doesn't go on Twitter.
She saw these tweets.
So my aunt, my mom's sister, who's also not in this religion, she's like, just go visit your family. You're gonna have some crazy story to tell, I'm sure, but just go visit them. So, okay, to frame it, I went to visit my family, and then I visited my dad, my mom, my sister, my grandparents, and my aunt and uncle. I didn't visit any of them at the same time. It was all separate somehow, and they all acted super culty. And like I thought, with this project, I had nothing to lose because they've already been shunning me. So like that's the full punishment.
Okay.
Like you get shunned for the rest of your life.
Right.
So they've been doing that since year 2 of being out to not being in this religion. So here I am, year 9. What's going to be different? Sure, I'm making videos. Like they probably don't even know about it. And if they do, they're whatever.
Right.
I'll hear about it, but same. It'll be the same.
Right.
Yeah. They can't take anything else away from me. Okay, so I arrive at my parents' house in the countryside where I grew up. I hear a lawn tractor. My dad's mowing the lawn up by the horse barn. And I go, like, okay, door's probably unlocked because people are here. And go check the doors. I've got wine, I've got beers, I've got snacks, and like, let's hang. I don't need any of that stuff. They probably already have all the stuff. I thought I'd bring a gift.
Right.
And also what I wanted to drink. And then the doors are locked. The front door's locked. The patio door in the back on the deck is locked. Like the garage door is locked. It was never locked. And then I was like, well, even my own bedroom door on the other end of the house, like I guess I'll walk around and check it. It was so weird. Like, why is it locked? I even thought it's so crazy. Like, there must be someone here. There's 5 cars in the drive. I don't recognize any of them because they've gotten all new cars apparently in the last few years. But I was like, there's 5 cars. Like, how many cars could 3 people need? And I checked the last door. I look in the windows. Like, there's no one around. But anyway. I was like, there's something fishy about this. And my dad comes down. He mopes over and it's like, what are you doing here? you know you're not supposed to be here. I was like, I don't know that. Like, I drove 20 hours to like come say hi.
Oh.
And he's like, I'm like, just have a beer with me. So I give him a beer. He's like, I won't drink beer with you. I was like, there's no scripture about that.
So are you taken aback by this and surprised?
Well, I kind of knew there'd be some tension, but
Okay, but like this?
this is over the top. This is never the way it was before.
Right.
Every other time before this, it's been annoying that they wouldn't talk about the real issue here. Like the elephant in the room is so gigantic, and everyone's pretending that everything's normal, but they won't talk to me for years on end. No emails, no phone calls, no anything, no text, no Facebook messages. All my siblings, my parents, except for the occasional adding me on Facebook and then talking to me and then deleting me on Facebook a few months later after a convention or something, feeling guilty about talking to me or something. But anyway, so
he agrees. So he doesn't agree to have the beer.
He doesn't agree to have the beer, but he sits down on like this trailer that he has out in the lawn, and I'm parked next to it. So I'm leaning against my car. We're having a chat. And
are you having a beer anyways?
I'm having a beer. He's like, I'm not drinking with you, and I'm like, well, I'm not going anywhere. So, yeah, that becomes part of the sub theme later. But basically, I'm drinking, and I'm gonna be too drunk to drive. So I'm not leaving. Basically, you're gonna have to put me up. But he just launches straight into Bible talk and evolution. And the video, he talks about the videos. He's like, I heard you're making videos against the witnesses. And I'm like, I'm making videos that are about your religion, yeah. And they're on what you believe, probably.
Yeah.
You should be proud. You'd be proud of it. He's like, I haven't seen him. I'm not going to watch that stuff. I was like, I thought you'd be happy. You know, you got to see him. You got to watch him. And who knows what their response would be, but.
It's not like you're making up stuff in these documentaries.
No.
People are just telling their experience.
And then he's pioneering. So he went full Jesus freak after he got retired. So he's taking it real serious. But he wanted to talk about evolution. But he had nothing. He doesn't know about evolution. He doesn't understand it. He's like, he did the classic Jehovah Witness thing. Like, look around. Everything's so beautiful. How could it be made by a roll of the dice? I'm like, no one has ever argued that someone rolled dice and got like planet Earth and this ecosystem.
Right.
That's not the opposite idea of evolution being true or not.
Yeah.
It's just how science works. And he's like, no, it couldn't possibly be. And
so it has to be this omnipresent being that has no beginning and end that started all this.
Yeah.
Because it's not evolution. It's not evolution, but it has to be this. Okay.
Yeah, so, God magically poofed all the planets into existence.
And God magically poofed into existence.
Right.
No, because he had no beginning. That makes a lot of sense.
So that was interesting. He wanted to talk about evolution. And we talked about evolution and that idea for probably 20 minutes. And then we had this 40-minute chat, and he's like, you got to leave. And you can't be here anymore. And I was like, I'm not going anywhere. So I just walked around the property and kind of reminisced for a minute. And he came back out and he found me on the property. It's like 28 acres, but like I was just like nearby the house. But he came, we had another 40-minute chat. He wanted to talk about the Bible. And we talked all about the Bible.
What if he called the elders while he was in the house?
Yeah, who knows?
Hey, he's on the property. I don't know what I should do. What should I say to him? And I wonder if he came back with the stuff that they suggested.
Yeah, it was probably like a 10-minute or 15-minute break, so maybe.
Yeah.
Then later I was like, well, I'm here to see Grandma. Like I heard she was out here. The nurses said my mom took her. And do you know where they're at? And he's like, I don't know. I was like, well, what's with the deal with all the cars? And he's like, well, maybe they went shopping. I was like, is there another car? Like, there's 5 cars. How many cars do you guys have? And he's like, I don't know where they are. I was like, all right.
Was that a truthful answer?
It wasn't, I found out. So
it's okay to lie to an apostate, though.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
You can't lie, but lie to an apostate.
So then I go to the nursing home again. Because I called before and she wasn't there. So this time I go to the nursing home and I meet the nurses who are taking care of my grandma. And they're sweet and they're nice. And I was like, I just had the cultiest experience ever. Let me just dump this on you. And they're like, okay, fine. So like we're talking about my talk with my dad. And then they're like, oh, your mom's on the way here. She's going to come get the meds for your grandma. I was like, oh, I guess I'm just going to hang out then. So maybe she's going to bring grandma and I'll get to see her. And that's my goal. And then she comes and like this car pulls out. I'm talking to the nurse and she's asking me all about Jehovah's Witnesses. And I'm telling her all the drama with my family. So that was fun. And then this van pulls up and it's a van that was in the driveway. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. She was hiding. Like she had locked, my mom had locked the doors,
so
I think.
Peeking through the curtains and shit at
Right,
you.
yeah.
What?
So then she pulls in the driveway of the nursing home, sees me in the lobby, pulls out.
Wait, how many people were hiding at the house from you?
3, I found out. I didn't know this until I confronted my mom.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So she pulls in the driveway, then she pulls out. And then she goes around, she goes on the street, loops back around, pulls back in the driveway, goes out, goes on the road, does another circle, and she's like, then she backs up and like makes sure it's me. I think she saw me through the window and she's like, what am I supposed to do? I need the meds. I can't leave without the meds. Grandma needs them. And then she finally pulls in, she calls the nurse and she's like, can you bring the meds out to the car?
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, oh my God, give me a break. Like, so I go out, I'm not gonna like make her walk in and be all upset.
You should have took the meds out.
Yeah, I could have probably. I could have probably signed for him. Right. So I go out there and I'm like, Mom, how's it going? She rolls the window. She's like, why are you doing this to us? I'm like,
doing this to us.
Doing what to you? Like I just came to say hi. Like, it's been years since we saw each other. I just want to say hi. Like I love you guys and I want to catch up, just like old times.
Right.
Like every time I come out here, you guys are always opening the door and let me in and pretend everything's normal, and that's annoying, but it's better than like nothing. She's like, well, not this time. We're past that. I'm like, what's changed? I still don't believe in what your religion is teaching, and that's not gonna change. Like I just don't believe it. She's like, well, you're making videos. I'm like, oh, have you seen the videos I'm making? I've been making videos for years. She's like, well, these videos are about Jehovah's Witness or witness bashing videos. I was like, what do you know about it? I don't know. People told me they're bad. Like, you should watch them. I think you'd like you got me into the arts. you pushed me into making this kind of stuff, and the only reason I'm making it is because you guys treat me weird, like treat me like you're in a cult.
Right.
It's like, we're not in a cult. I'm like, well, start acting like you're not in a cult. So I just wanted to hit it hard. So my mom brings up the videos, then she brings up evolution. I'm like, why are you talking about evolution? It's like, because you believe this, it's just ridiculous that you could believe in something that's just chance. Like, the world's beautiful and awesome. Like, how can you believe that God didn't create it? And I was like, how can you believe that all scientists on Earth are all wrong about the exact same thing? It's just how nature works, and it's not a big deal. You can still believe in God and also believe that nature works the way scientists say it does.
Right.
Just like you believe that the Earth orbits the sun. It's not crazy. You can have all your... She's like, don't tell me these things. Like, I have no more room in my brain for this shit. Like, I have no more space. Like, I mean, you brought it up. Like, and then this was only a 30-minute conversation, and then she's like, I was like, how's things really going? And she starts crying. She says, everyone ignores your grandma. I can't do this right now, shit. Everyone ignores your grandma, and I guess like us ignoring you is like the same thing. So I can see how you feel terrible about it and like feel like you're attacked. And she totally like breaks down and cries about it. So it's like this really cool like connection to have, that she like realizes shunning's like some bullshit. And she's like, I'm sorry our family's such a mess. Like, I wish there's something I could do about it. That was hard. But also awesome and revealing, and it felt like, oh, she's like really trapped in this shit.
Damn.
But then it lightened up, and I was like, just come have a beer with me. Like, you have nothing going on, you're retired, and you can just kick it. She's like, no, like, your dad doesn't want to hang out with your mom, your grandma, so I gotta go back and like rescue him so he can go to sleep. It's like, he's got nothing going on either. Come on, he's pioneering. It's not a real job or anything. Like, just come have a drink with me. She's like, no, I gotta go. I was like, this is it? You're just gonna like ditch me? I'm like, are you gonna hang out with me while I'm here? She's like, I'm not supposed to do that. I gotta go. And then she took off. Like, all right, I guess that's mom for the next 3 years. I probably won't be back for a while. Then I went and told, and the nurse I've been talking to, she was gone. I was gonna go fill her in on this new drama. She'd like love this lighting thing. I filled her head for an hour with crazy shit.
I don't believe it just happened.
Yeah. That was heavy though. That was hard.
Oh, I bet, man.
But then the nurse that was taking care of my grandma, she's new there, and she's like, oh, I just was working with your sister, and I know her schedule. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Like, my sister's working right now at her old job.
Right.
So I was like, well, gotta go do a triple header, home run, and bases loaded kind of thing.
Oh, God.
So I'm like, I'm gonna see my sister. So I go to her job. She works in like the kitchen.
You were just on a satanic rampage that day.
Yeah. I'm like, I love you guys. Let's hang out. And they're like, oh my God, you're the scariest person in our lives. Go away. I'm like, come on. I'm beyond that. Can't you just grow up a little bit and like hang out with your brother and your son? But I wasn't there to tell them any subversive things. I mean, I want them to like get free of that cult.
Right.
And like that kind of oppression and that control system they're in, but I don't have ill will towards them. I just want them to, think for themselves and have honest, healthy relationships. So I go see my sister, and I was thinking, oh, she works at, it's a gas station. She's young, so it's like one of her first jobs.
Okay.
Like, I thought she'd just be like running the till and like working, selling cigarettes, like a good witness.
Right.
But she was in the back, and there's actually quite busy spot. There's like 12 people working, and so I was like, hey, is Lauren working tonight? And the guy's like, Lauren, someone's here to see you on the speakerphone. And I was like, oh, or on the overhead.
Right.
And like, okay, all right, I guess this is happening. My sister's gonna come out. She doesn't know who it is. And she comes out the door, and
I wonder if she got a phone call in advance.
Well, turns out she was hiding in the house too. Right, so locked doors, fearing for their lives, like full-on JW bunker,
Praying
like
and shit.
Yeah. Satan is at our door.
Damn.
This is what they've been preparing us for at the conventions with those bunker videos,
Right.
like huddle together. under Satan's
You
world.
kidding me?
Who knows? That's how I imagine it. Like,
Right,
we're in
I
this
mean,
together.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't saying you kidding me about about what you were saying, but she was in there too.
Yeah. And
Unbelievable.
I know, right? Like, they're acting so crazy. I literally am just there to like catch up and say hi and like, what boyfriend have you got now? And like,
Hey.
how is life outside of high school? Like now that you're out of high school.
Do you wonder if they've seen any of the videos yet? They
I
had
do,
to.
yeah. So my sister, and
Your
I
sister
can't do
has
this
to.
on audio, but she like waves her hands, like does a deep breath, like looks at me with like wide eyes and does this hand waving thing, and she's like, I don't know, like you can't be here, like we're not supposed to talk. And I was like, Lauren, come on, I'm your brother.
Right.
Like we don't have a good relationship because like we barely know each other because for most of your life you've been shunning me and not talking to me.
Right.
She's like, I don't want it to be that way. Like I really want you in my life. I'd do anything to have you as my brother. And then we start talking, and she's like, you know, like what you're supposed to do. I was like, I am never going to join any religion, especially this one. Like the darkest religion possible. And I don't want anything to do with it. I just want you in my life because you're my sister, and it'd be great to get to know you again and like, have a relationship. She's like, I want that. But like right now, like my life, like I joined the religion, like I got baptized, I took the dunk like a couple months back, and Dad's so happy about it. And we pioneer and do stuff together.
Oh.
It's like, man, let's just come on. You were the last hope. You could have like been free,
Damn.
But she's like, no, I'm dating this guy, and she took a break. So we had like a 30-minute break outside from her job, and then she's like, if I hang out with you, it's gonna destroy my world because you're gonna put some ideas in my head about evolution or something, and you're making these videos, and like you just can't be in my life because if you are, everything's gonna fall apart. I was like, I don't have that kind of power over you.
Right.
You have your whole life, and you can have whatever relationships you want. I'm not gonna try to like just change your world. I wouldn't want that. And she's like, no, like this is it. This is the end. Like we can never see each other again. Like you're gonna die at the end, and like it's gonna happen like so soon.
Oh, God.
I was like, and I like took a step back, and like, come on. And she's like, what is this funny to you? And I was like,
actually, yes, but
no. Like she's like, I have something I want to say, and she like collect your thoughts. And I was like, no, Lauren, it's not funny to me. Like just say it. Have your space. Like talk. And she kind of that's basically the speech, but.
Right.
This is the end, and like you can't be coming into my life. And I was like, well, you can't stop me from trying to see you. You're my sister. Like I'm gonna want to like catch up with you,
right.
And I'm gonna keep on doing it like until I can't anymore. She's like, you can't do that. Like that's just wrong. Like I can't have that. And then so she'd never seen the videos as well, but she had an issue with them. I said the same thing I told my dad and my mom. And then she talks about evolution and how ridiculous evolution is. And I was like, just accept that it's how nature works. It's not complicated. It's not subversive. She's like, no, like this is an all or nothing thing. Like if I believe in evolution, then it all falls apart. I was like, think about that. Like what does that say? Like all three of these people were just like, let's talk about the Bible. Let's talk about evolution. There was no like family conversation. Not how you doing, how's your health, what have you been up to?
Right.
Which is also really strange.
Evolution.
That's their problem.
Nuts.
They're upset about evolution and like.
And why can't you believe in evolution while they believe in creationism? You have to believe what we believe. But we can't talk to you.
It's so all or nothing. Like no other religions really like that.
I don't think so. None that I can think of.
And they change their beliefs so often. Like, how do you keep up? Like, if we went back, you would have like the beliefs of a completely different religion going back.
Right.
You'd have to catch up on like 20 years of doctrinal changes, and like almost no religion is like completely changing their ideas all the time. But
so
that was round one.
Round one.
Yeah.
There's round two.
And then there's grandparents and aunts and uncles.
Oh.
But that's all kind of one story, which is kind of sweet and also insane.
Let's hear it.
You want to jump into it?
I mean, is it a?
It's funny. It's pretty great actually. So the next day, I still haven't seen my grandma. I'm trying to see my mom's house.
Your worldly grandma.
Yeah, my
So
worldly
they
grandma.
barred you from your worldly grandma.
Yeah, she was trapped in the house too. So
What is she thinking?
she's like, "Oh, we're hiding. Great, I love hiding. That's fun. Let's do it."
Brought demons with them? Close the curtain behind you. So, I first discovered you when you put that trailer out, like I was saying. Is that when you first popped onto the scene?
Yeah, I never really paid attention to Ex-JW media stuff at all.
So you weren't a part of groups and all that other
None of it, not one thing.
That's
I had
interesting.
other Ex-JW friends who were, like, that I'd left the religion with around the same time, we reconnected. And they would send me stuff or show me stuff, but it's like, okay, Silent Lambs, like, I'm glad that's out there, but I didn't have an issue with pedophilia, or I didn't know any of those kind of things.
You didn't have an issue with pedophilia.
Well, like, Silent Lambs is about, like, sex abuse victims.
Okay.
And molestation victims.
Right.
And there's, like, people writing in about their stories.
Uh-huh.
And my friend's like, this is horrible and atrocious. And he was even reading it as a witness.
Uh-huh.
But even after, he'd keep in touch and, like, watch the stuff. And I just was like, okay, yeah, it's some more horrible stories, but
okay.
I'm kind of over this religion. I don't really want to think about it anymore.
Right.
I did that for, like, 7 years. I was just, like, really distant. I knew there was stuff online, and I'd unraveled the web myself.
You didn't need to see any
it.
of it. Right, you didn't need it.
And also I had, like, a really good support group on the outside, like my girlfriend and I and her sister and then this one particular friend and, like, another guy. We all were ex-witnesses. We all hung out a lot together, like, that first year out. So we kind of had, like, our own support group in the real life. But yeah, so I just, like, only looked online for ex-witness stuff because I made this trailer. And I was like, I'm making something. I didn't know what else. I only saw, like, selfie videos that were out a few times.
Yeah.
Saw a couple, semi-creative videos I thought were interesting, but all of it I was like, I'm not really proud of that. I don't want to, like, show the world, like, look at this video, and, like, I'm a part of that crew.
Yeah.
I never felt that way about any of that media, so I was like, I want to create something that tells a story, but also I'd be proud to say, like, I came out from this. It might be
that regular people can be proud of how it's presented and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Or not proud of it, they can swallow it better.
Yeah. Make it palatable to common people and
right.
Tell a story in a way that's not just depressing and, like, feels like victim flag waving.
Yeah.
Because it's just hard to watch and stomach, and, like, it's depressing.
Yeah.
I don't want to make depressing videos. I want to make, like, videos that are about, like, living your life to the fullest in a way.
Yeah.
And not mine, but, like, show other people and all different walks of life and different backgrounds.
You definitely captured that. That was one of the first things that that really opened my eyes to how well made it was. As you were talking to an ex-witness that was gay, I think.
Yeah. And
him getting to tell his story was very well done. And what he had to say, I mean, his experiences as a witness and how he lives now.
Yeah.
That's so you definitely hit the mark on what you're trying to accomplish on that. Because he's definitely seems like he's happy and he's living and he's not hating himself.
Mm-hmm. He seems to have a pretty healthy balance in life, and a life that he's pretty happy with as well. And there's so much more to his story. I mean, everyone I have, like, a 3 to 5 hour interview with, so there's so much to be told, and I just pulled something out that was, like, kind of framed the idea a little bit just to set up the topic. This is such a big topic, and it's so personal that it's really hard to make content about it without just diving in and making 1 hour videos, which is why I think YouTube is filled with 1 hour XCW videos. People just telling their story. It takes a lot to tell, and there's a lot to say. It takes a long time.
It seemed like in a matter of no time, like, you jumped on there and you caught everybody's attention, and everybody just super down with what you're doing and wanted to be a part of it with you.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was amazing to meet so many people that were passionate and thought the project was valuable, and that it wasn't just, some crazy fringe idea and side project of mine, but it actually could become something greater.
Everybody was down with it. Everybody is down with it.
Yeah, very positive response across the board. There's a few witnesses that comment on the videos, which I think is really funny, and I've never really responded to them.
Why?
Because everyone else did, and I thought it was hilarious, kind of like the community response to these people. And some people have a lot of energy to, like, take what they're saying and really, like, bring rational ideas to the table in that space where you have witnesses watching this content they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
And then ex-witnesses explain to them, like, how they should be thinking about this rather than, like, their strange framework. Right. Like, one woman is like, oh, I fully support the LGBT community, and I think the witnesses are going to come around on that topic. Not probably going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
And you probably don't fully support them either.
Yeah. You're probably going to get kicked out if you don't leave yourself.
Right.
But it's cool to see these people, like, not just batter these witnesses who are making silly comments, but actually, like, thoughtfully respond, even bringing scripture into it and, like, their own doctrine. So they did a lot better job than I would have done responding to them. It was kind of like having an entire PR team of thousands of people. It's good.
Nice. It seems like stories of liberation,
Yeah.
rather than the typical stories of how bad people's experiences were. And it's like coming out to the other side okay.
And you know, it's hard to say what the ultimate story arc is going to be, because you know I've filmed with a lot of different people, but when it hits the edit, I mean, we can basically tell any story we want.
Right.
And it's going to be really difficult I'm going to put that in the hands of someone else, because it's not just me. It's not.
Okay.
This isn't about me. Like I'm trying to make sure that this has like zero ego of mine in it. Like I've never wanted to put myself in it because I don't want it to be about me.
Right.
And I want it to feel like a community. And I want all different kinds of people to say like, yeah, like I relate to that, and like, oh, that's a really cool perspective.
Right.
And you know, you might be annoyed by one person in the film, but like you'll really connect with someone else, you know,
Right.
that perspective that they have that you never thought of. And I don't think any one person can. You're not like you can't pick one person out of the Ex-JW community and say like everyone relates to them.
Right. No, that's true. That's absolutely true. So is there a timeline of when it's going to be out?
And we got basic funding to film this thing. That was what our whole campaign was about. The grant money was to also edit it and to travel a lot farther. So we kind of had to hone in our concept a little bit and make it a little simpler. And I actually would personally, if it's just me working on it, I would do little character vignettes, like 3 to 5 little videos with each person, set to B-roll in like just a simple idea, and then just keep on putting out these short 3 to 5 minute videos.
Right. Like the ones that you've done so
Yeah,
far?
there's a couple samples I did. There's like
Right.
4 out. Because those take me 2-3 days editing, and I can just pull like the cream of the crop bits from everyone's interview.
Okay.
And I can just make a short little standalone thing. And they're really fun to edit. They're easy to do, and it's just like these little nuggets of gold.
Yeah,
And
I love that.
Yeah, it really is. I'm capable of doing that on this budget and in a short duration of time. And like I'm gonna probably, because I don't have the grant money, we didn't get the grant money. I'm gonna get a job, and so that also limit my time. But I think I'm gonna hand it off with the remainder of the money we got in the campaign to another editor who's been on the team from the beginning. This woman in Atlanta.
Right.
And she's gonna take it on and do the story arc with some input from. She's not a witness, which I think is actually really healthy.
Yeah.
She's not an ex-witness at all.
Perfect.
So we're kind of reining back the idea, but we're still gonna produce something really cool.
Nice.
And the idea is like make it sustainable and keep on making. It's not just a one-off project. Like this is something that can keep on going. A lot of filmmakers and musicians reached out through the campaign, and they want to do some collaborative stuff.
Oh, nice.
So like I've been sent a bunch of footage about someone put that together with an interview, and then other filmmakers, like they live in different places, and we can't get to everybody.
Right.
But they live somewhere with a whole different community of people, and they could tell their story about their place and their people, in a way, that community of people. And I'd like to just like open up this Ex-JW doc thing next year to have kind of remote filmmakers that are also related, make similar content with their own style, and just like promote that stuff and like do a YouTube like share.
You have any thoughts on doing? So is this going to be a feature length?
So the idea was to do a series.
Okay,
but it could be that it's a feature length episode. But you know, it's still kind of up in the air because we didn't get the grant money. We kind of are still kind of determining what it's going to be.
Right.
And we haven't looked at the footage yet because we've just been doing production.
Okay. You must have tons of footage.
Oh my God, 4 terabytes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a lot.
For the people that don't know what 4 terabytes is, so there's a megabyte, and there's 1,000 megabytes that make a gigabyte, and then 1,000 gigabytes is a terabyte. You have 4,000 gigabytes.
Mm-hmm. And that's mostly just raw video content.
Wow.
There's some photos in there, but that's pretty small.
Right.
And then audio, but that's also pales in comparison to the video files. But yeah, it's a large project, and it's been really, really fun to make it. And I have a feeling we're gonna put together some beautiful story arc, and then I'm gonna be like, oh, I wish I had this shot, I wish I had that shot. I'm gonna fly back out here and do a bunch of extra filming with a bunch of people. But
what about
I don't know.
do a feature length and try to get it entered into festivals or something.
That's where I'd love to take it, actually. That's
Right.
been a dream of mine, to have something powerful in a film festival circuit. And that's where some of the crew...
The world needs to see this stuff,
Yeah.
and it's now is a good time.
Yeah.
With what's going on is, Leah Remini, and then the thing that we just had with Elizabeth Vargas, that A&E show, Apostasy movie.
Apostasy was great.
Oh
I just watched that a couple weeks ago at Ex-JW Moving On. He has the Blu-ray, so we were hanging out to interview. He's like, check out what I got. Let's watch it tonight.
Oh man,
It was so cool because his partner's parents live on the property, and he's an elder who left the religion, and she was like, super witness mom, and they both watched it. We all watched it together, like 5 ex-witnesses, like with like the serious background. That was super cool to watch that together with them, and like everyone, we paused it, like, we gotta talk about this.
Yeah, right.
It was awesome.
It's got great reviews, man.
Yeah,
It might be. We might see it in award season.
yeah,
I have a strong feeling.
it's so well done.
So well done.
Yeah, I love the
Love for it to go to
colors.
the Oscars.
I love the framing is like, it's just so consistent. Like his style is so consistent and beautiful. It's great.
Yeah, it feels like you're watching. You buy every bit of it. You don't feel like you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
It's great. But yeah, that would be very awesome to for your project to build on top of all these things that are being shown on a wide scale like that.
I'd love that. I think I'm gonna push for some feature length thing, because I'm pretty confident in our editor
We need
to
it.
pull out something really powerful from this.
We need it.
But I still want to do all those little vignettes, because that's like my thing. It's like making the music video. Like I love doing it, and to make it on these bizarre perspectives and lifestyles that we all lived. It's just such a weird thing to do with my time, but I really enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of the interview content we can use for podcast episodes, and that's like a really fun, cool way to like put the raw content out there, because there's so much more to say, and a lot of people have really cool ways to say it.
This is great, man. And on behalf of all the others that I know appreciate it, man, thank you.
Yeah,
So looking forward to this coming out.
cool. I love that. I've actually been so burnt out on it, because it's like traveling, like crashing on couches and spare rooms, and like not having my space.
Right.
And like every day is a film day, basically, because I'm like living on site with these people, and it's very
Nice.
like intimate, but like, and everyone's so open to this project
Right.
and being filmed, and I have 100% access to a lot of these characters, and it's been a lot of mental energy, but then also visiting my family in the middle of it was It was not my plan. I was trying to save that to the end, because it always like messes with my head for a while.
Right.
And then I go dump that on everyone else. But yes, I'm just like going home like, all I want to do is like go on vacation and like not think about, actually all I want to do is not think about this topic for like 2 months. But
Yeah, I know how that gets, working on something for so long.
it was cool that you're here, because this is such a random thing. I've been
I
wanting
don't-
to meet you, and like you're like right here in my last stop.
Yeah, I don't know. I know
That's-
people know that we're doing this in person, man. Like,
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
Do you have contact information for people that may need to reach you, or that you would like to be able to reach you?
Yeah.
Email address.
Yeah, so we have an email address, so it's xjwdoc@gmail.com. xjwdoc@gmail.com.
And Twitter.
Twitter is the same handle, so it's @xjwdoc, xjwdoc. And Facebook group is the same. Facebook page is the same. What else is there? Instagram, also the same, xjwdoc.
We're on all the major platforms.
And then on our website's xjwdoc.com.
Nice.
It's fairly well branded. YouTube's the only one that's off. It's XJW Documentary.
Okay. So that's the
Official YouTube.
Okay.
I kind of wanted to tell my grandparents' story. Just like, I could make it quick.
Yeah, tell it.
So, just the family thing. I visit my grandparents expecting to have the same experience with my parents. My grandpa, my old, wrinkly old grandpa comes to the door and is like, what are you doing here? Kind of got that same attitude as my dad. You know we can't talk to you. And I was like, hey grandpa, good to see you. How you doing? And he's like, we're okay. And then, oh, why are you making these videos? Like, what do you know about these videos? He's like, I heard they're bad and they're about witnesses. And I was like, well, you get to go door to door. But I'm making, and you get to tell them what you believe, and I'm making videos of what I believe. So you should make videos. I'm like, Jehovah's Witnesses make videos. He's like, okay, come on in. And so then I'm like, yes. Like, and I'm sitting with my grandparents. They're 91 and 93. And met in the military, and we just went straight into old family stuff. Like, let's talk about the railroad, and let's talk about our love story. Like, I never heard your love story. Tell me about your love story. And they met in the military, and their first dates and stuff. And it was lovely. And then they wanted to talk about the Bible. I'm like, okay, sure, let's talk about the Bible. And then it was, let's talk about evolution. Like, are you sure you want to talk? Like, yeah, like you're having a ridiculous idea. They went all the same things in my family, right? They all want to talk about it. But it was like a 5-hour hangout. So to make the story short, my aunt and uncle lived there and caretake for them. And I don't think I've ever seen them at a Kingdom Hall. Maybe one time, but they don't go. But they were there, and I heard some mumbling upstairs, and I hear them say, like, "Is that Scott down there?" And I'm hanging with my grandparents, and like I'm hearing this, and I see some movement upstairs, and then like next thing I know is they're running down the stairs, and they like don't look, they don't make eye contact, they just like turn their backs and like get out the door, like quick within haste, and then take off in an SUV. And I get a phone call, and I get a phone. My grandpa gets a phone call, and he's on speakerphone because he's hard of hearing. And it's my aunt, and she says, "Is that who we think it is in your living room?" He says, "We're hanging out with our grandson Scott. He came to visit. It was a surprise." She's like, "We wouldn't hang out with someone like that. How dare you? You're on your own for dinner." I was like, "On your own for? You're starving my 93-year-old grandparents? You're the caretakers?" She hangs up the phone.
No.
And I was like, "Grandpa, does she do this a lot? Like, threaten to not feed you guys?" And my grandma pipes up and she's like, "There's 3 cold hot dogs in the refrigerator."
Oh.
And I was like, "Cold hot dogs? Come on, you guys. You need healthier food than that."
Damn.
And so I'm like, okay. I was about to leave because I was going to go meet these people up in Lake Superior that I haven't seen in like 20 years.
Right.
And I was late. It was like getting late. And I just thought I'd pop in and like get kicked out. But then now I'm like, kicked it all day with these guys, and it was awesome, and it was like just like it's exactly what I wanted. I need a little like hit of my grandparents, and we really caught up in a really nice way. It was really authentic and beautiful. But then they threatened to starve my grandparents as punishment for talking to their grandson.
Not heard that one yet.
I opened the refrigerator, and lo and behold, there are 3 cold hot dogs in a Ziploc. My grandma was right. And then there's almost nothing else except a container of yesterday's mac and cheese.
Oh.
I was like, "Are you guys 7 years old? Is this what you eat all the time? This is not healthy."
Oh.
And he's like, it's fine. I'm like, "Do you eat hot dogs all the time?" Like, "We like hot dogs." I'm like, oh man, like you should not be trained to be eating hot dogs and like accepting that. You're 93. You have a fortune you could be spending on like vegetables.
Right.
So I found a couple mushrooms and an onion and like sauteed them something. They're like, we had some beans, like cooked up some beans. I'm like, "That's so great you're cooking for us. Could you please stay for dinner?" Like held my hand. It was awesome because they like invited me and they prayed and they did their whole thing, and I'd brought dessert actually, and they were like, probably don't get that kind of stuff. I like brought just like local bakery cookies that they really like, and they like mowed them all down. Like I brought it for my aunt and uncle too. That was just like a really cute thing. And then during dinner, an elder calls, and it's on speakerphone again. It's right there at the dinner table, and I hear this whole thing. And he's like, "Walter Homan, I heard you have an apostate in your house. Why would you do such a thing, Wally?" And he chastises my 93-year-old grandpa for talking to his grandson. So he's like, "It's fine. It's our grandson. He's here to see us. We almost never see him." He's like, he started saying something. I just yelled on the phone. I yelled toward the phone. I was like, "This is my grandfather. I'm his grandson. You cannot erase blood relationships. Like, we're just catching up." And he pauses, and he's like, "Wally, you be careful. We're gonna talk about this later."
Oh God.
Like, they called the Gestapo, like secret police on my grandparents. And like, this is my caretakers, and this is my grandparents' like last years. Like, come on, give them a fucking break.
Right.
Do you really think those tools are gonna work on these old folks?
Right.
Come on.
That's terrible. Put that on their heads like that.
But they were so sweet and loving. It was great. And he really like took one. He like took one for the team to like hang out with me. I think he's probably still being punished for that.
I'm sure.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, man, I got to thank you for doing this
Yeah.
with me. I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time, and I think other people have been wanting to hear from me as well. And you're the perfect person for me to jump back and do an episode in a while.
Yeah, it's been really a pleasure. Like, it's super fun to meet you in person and hang out.
All right.
Just kick it. It's great.
Definitely.
Love it.
And I want to thank the listeners for checking back with us. And we are out of here.
Awesome.
The sergeant was talking to his men, and he passed out all the weapons, didn't have enough guns to go around. So he told the last man, I'll just give you a stick. And the guy says, well, what am I going to do with a stick? The guy says, well, you can just holler bang, bang. Nobody knows the difference, you'll probably get killed anyway. The guy says, okay, I'll go along with that. Wait a minute, what happens if I get in close hand-to-hand combat? He says, I'll give you a straw, but I don't even want a broomstick. And you can just go stab, stab. Well, okay, I can go along with that. The battle starts and people are getting shot all over the place, and this guy's going bang, 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 bang. Feeling good, he's getting to be a hero. We're down to 2 men on the field. This one guy and the enemy. And the guy comes over there to him, calling bang, 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 bang. And the guy keeps coming. Calling bang, 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 bang. And the guy keeps coming. Bang, 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 bang. And the guy keeps coming on over there. He finally gets there close enough to him, he goes...
Will kill you fast.
Gets there close enough to him, he goes stab, 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 stab. Nothing happens. The guy just walks right on his face, just walks right on over him. As he's laying there, he's feeling bad because one minute he's a hero, next minute he's dead. And as he's laying there, he hears the guy going tank, 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 tank.